We've asked Tom Carcone to hang for just a second. Tom, you can come up to that microphone now. I wanted to ask you, from a union standpoint, and I think this would be interesting, on this investigation into the Common Council incident, we're talking about with Lemetico, Marino, and DeBrango. I believe there's a tape. We know there's a tape, but no audio. The city is claiming that it has a zero tolerance for workplace violence, which, pursuant to its violence in the workplace policy and employee handbook, includes intimidating, making threatening remarks, engaging in the acts of aggressive behavior, or inferring violence, I should say, against any person or property associated with the city. So some are calling this investigation political, considering we have a mayoral primary coming up between Marino and Palmieri in June. How do you see that, and how is this normally handled? Because I can't imagine you haven't dealt with it as the union for the fire department.
So I actually was attending that meeting because
you were there.
After the police budget, they did the fire budget.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see the police budget or whatever supposed incident took place. I walked in while they were doing the fire budget. It looked like everybody in the room was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know that an incident had happened. I sat there throughout the whole fire budget and then left. And DeBrango, Lemetico, Marino, they were all sitting at the table. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine it being so bad. They continued on with the meeting.
Right.
But workplace violence, as far as I know it, I've never seen an outside agency like hired in Syracuse coming in. When we have a workplace violence incident or a sexual harassment incident, we usually submit it to the city. The civil service secretary, who is employee benefits, who also serves as, also serves as the workplace violence and sexual harassment officer, is Lori Robel. So we usually bring any issues, or if the department sees any issues, they usually submit it to her.
Okay.
Now, there's been a couple instances that things have went forward to her. One was like 3 years ago. Maybe it was there for a question mark. The chief submitted it. They were supposed to conduct an investigation into a dispute between members, or one member uncomfortable working with another, and the involvement of somebody else. And
so this could include sexual harassment.
It might have been sexual harassment, might have been workplace violence. Mm-hmm. It was put under investigation. And those fall under the same criteria. It went to Lori Robel. She was going to hold an investigation. Once the members asked for union representation there, they let the investigation go to the wayside and said, we don't have to conduct an investigation because it was a third-party report.
Got it.
So I don't know who the complainant here is, but I've seen these same things be thrown out because of a third-party report. Then the second one, we had a workplace violence. I think somebody threatened somebody else. They conducted an investigation again through Lori Robel, and we never got a result or an end to the investigation. I have seen in other cases they've used the internal affairs of the police station to conduct some investigations within the department, whether it be for sexual harassment or for discipline. But I've never seen an outside agency come in to conduct.
And if you have followed the story, they've reached out to someone from Syracuse who's conducting the investigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And usually it's supposed to be civil service, or your sexual harassment officer is supposed to be the independent party. So I've never seen them actually hire a firm before. Maybe they don't want political distractions or whatever else. But, I mean, this was during the police budget, too.
Right.
I mean, the police chief and the assistant chief were at the meeting. I mean, if there was any kind of assault or criminal incident, you would assume, and I know both of them very well, they would do their job.
So the city is saying this is a zero tolerance, and for that reason, the investigation must go forward.
Obviously, the workplace violence is a lower level than actual assault or a crime.
Right.
But again, I've never seen a law firm be hired specifically to conduct the investigation. Yeah. Usually, it's done by civil service or your sexual harassment officer, who's our civil service secretary, who's supposed to be independent party from that's a separate branch or whatever else, or the internal affairs of the police department, which in this case were the police chiefs were present, and they're not utilizing them for this.
I had somebody bring up to me a few days ago that this is an example of an inconsistency, that it's clearly, they believe it's clearly political that's being done because the mayor is facing Joe Marino in an upcoming primary for mayor in June, that they feel that this is different, and this case is being treated differently. And the example they used was a negotiation that had occurred at some point between the mayor's office, the city, and the fire department, that at one point it got so heated that a table was upended. And do you have any knowledge of that?
No.
And no, none at all.
No. Where was this?
It was very vague, but it was given to me that there was a negotiation between the mayor's office, the city of Utica, and the fire department.
I've heard rumors of old former union presidents, Danny Donaldson, grabbing the mayor and shaking him. I've heard stories of the mayor and Cornell going face to face and almost duking it out, and people having to break them up. I mean, you hear these stories throughout time over and over again. These always. Well,
I hadn't heard those. These
always get. And
yet they become bigger. As
I go to all the council meetings. I go to a lot, as many as I could attend. I've seen them call names to each other, and dispute, and everything else. It's politics. It's argument, and people are passionate about their job.
So, would you say that you feel this falls under that category of a heated debate?
I wasn't there. I can't make that claim, but I'll tell you that usually. You're going to see the tape. Councilman Marino and Councilman DeBrango are usually the more mellow people in the council.
Yeah.
They're not the ones that usually get into screaming matches or arguing or anything like that, and it's out of their character if something did take place.
All right.
I mean, I don't. But again, I wasn't there. I was there after, and it didn't look
like something.
I sat through a whole meeting and didn't even recognize something happened. Until a janitor mentioned something on the way out.
Word is we're going to see the tape. There'll be a tape, no audio, but we will see the tape.
Then let the investigation take its course.
Yeah.
But usually that's all I can speak is on the process.
Yeah.
When we have issues like that, that's where we bring them. There's usually not some outside counsel that's hired. And all
Fair enough. Okay. So people can take that information and make the judgment for themselves. So, again, your knowledge on all this stuff, we really appreciate. Tom Carcone, thanks so much.